Hey Nashville, where's the manifesto? I have here a news article written by NBC, the national bullshit company, regarding the possible motives, of the Nashville shooter, this and that. Motive in Nashville shooting remains unclear weeks after 6 people were killed at a Christian school. Motive still unclear. And the subtitle is, Authorities initially believe the shooter might hold resentment toward her former school, but they have not provided any details to publicly back up that theory. Authorities initially believe the shooter might hold resentment toward her former school. That's just a theory, though. Well, okay, you know what? We're going to scan all 6 pages of NBC reporting and see what we can deduce. Who knows? Maybe we can help the police out, help them put the puzzle together, right? Helping is good. I've taken the liberty of highlighting some of the spots in this article that we're going to go over, and red highlighting there. It says, one of Tennessee's top law enforcement officials said in a recent meeting that the writings of the 28-year-old shooter, Audrey Hale, appear to be ramblings and indicative of a mental health struggle. So you're telling me that a female dressing up as a male, shooting her way into a Christian school, and then gunning down innocent men, women, and children might have been in a mental health struggle? So I guess it's still just a theory, based on what she wrote. Gotcha. A federal law enforcement source verified to NBC News that no direct motive has been established in the investigation and suggested that the driving force of the attack was similar to previous school shootings, in which the assailant was drawn to other mass killers. So immediately, my first question is, why federal law enforcement involved? Why? This didn't cross state lines, and none of the property was federal, as far as we know. In fact, the federal government has nothing to do with this case whatsoever. So why Fed Boy sourcing anything? And as far as the other part, she was drawn to mass killers. You don't say. She's wanting to kill a large number of people. The reason for that has to be that she was drawn to other mass killers, No other motive other than that. There's no way that she could be looking at how others have done the thing that she's wanted to do herself. That might be why she was, drawn to other mass killers. Not that she was drawn to them. It's just she was looking at what they did and how they did it. I don't know. It's just a theory. I'm just kind of throwing that out there. Police Chief John Drake told NBC News that Hale may have targeted Covenant because there's some belief that there was some resentment for having to go to that school. He noted that the investigation was still in its early stages. Hale attended Covenant, a pre-kindergarten through 6th grade private school, at around 10 years old, a former headmaster said. Okay, so as a 10-year-old, she was forced to go to this school, and I guess that was the moment of inception as far as the idea of what she was going to do. So that's when the switch flipped, and for 2 decades, she's been stewing in her anger of having to go to this school and planning her revenge, because that's how it works. Okay, she hasn't had to do anything else that she didn't want to do for 20 years that stacks up to having to attend this private school. That was the one thing she just couldn't get past, Right. You see what we keep dancing around here? Drake said of the shooter that officials feel that she identifies as trans, but we're still in the initial investigation into all of that, and if it actually played a role in the incident. Okay. Was she dressed up as a boy or not? Is there a reason that the article never uses the pronoun her or not? I wonder if that manifesto mentions it. The manifesto that we're not allowed to see. They said it was ramblings, so I'd bet money that it's probably in there somewhere. Especially, since it's Hale's manifesto, and also taking into consideration the fact that the scumbag went to such great lengths to dress up as a boy. Maybe you should let us read the manifesto. If you're having literacy issues, I'm just saying, I'm pretty good at reading English. Some conservatives seized on that angle to blame the killings at the Christian school on Hale's gender identity, with the hashtag trans terrorism trending on Twitter, Senator Josh Hawley called for federal law enforcement agencies to investigate the shooting as a religious hate crime. To the first part of the paragraph there, that doesn't really make sense, because the idea of gender identity doesn't actually exist. There is gender and then there is identity. Your gender is a descriptor of your identity, as seen on your ID, aka identity. Other descriptors are also listed on your ID, like, hair color, eye color, height, weight, etc. Wow, okay. I guess they really do need help with reading then. If they can't even define English words correctly, maybe this really is a cry for help. Where's the manifesto? If you want help, we'll help. We'll find a motive. Bet. Apparently, this is one of the Nashville councilmen who chairs the Public Health and Safety Committee, blah, blah, I don't know, some stupid-ass committee. At this point, I think the Metro Police Department is backing off with making any judgments or assumptions on the manifesto and leading on TBI and the FBI, adding that overall the police have done a good job of investigating. There are pieces to this whole story that we don't know, and I don't know if it will ever give us closure or answers. I guess it's just too much for the Nashville Metro PD to investigate, huh? The intricacies of this complex case are so immense that the poor little old detectives in the PD can't wrap their little heads around it. So they've referred it to a higher power, I guess. Poor little guys. Hey, Nashville, if your detectives can't infer a motive from a manifesto, you probably should raise the bar a little bit for the position of detective. Reading and writing is pretty basic, so I guess the term raise the bar doesn't really clarify too well what I'm asking. I'm just asking for you to pick the bar up off the damn floor. That's all. Police experts said it's essential that officials are mindful of what they tell the public, especially since an investigation is so fluid. What the hell is a police expert? Is that like a police officer with a lot of time on the job? What are the qualifications for being an expert of police? How does one become that? As far as the second part of that, I absolutely agree with that. You should be mindful of what you tell the public, insofar as you need to make sure that you're telling the public the whole truth. Speaking of which, where's the manifesto? Listen to your expert policeman, Nashville. Got a good idea. You should never speculate about a motive until you have all the information. The manifesto may have some answers in it, or it may lead to some other people, but until you go through all of that, authorities shouldn't comment on a motive. This is a former FBI special agent that they're asking his opinion. Okay, you can speculate all you want. The information that you're referencing is right in front of you. Just read it, because you have it. We don't. You do. Have they not gotten through the entire manifesto yet? Like, have they not read it? Are they waiting for the sequel? Did it say to be continued at the end of it? Because if you're waiting for a sequel, I've got some bad news, guys. There won't be one. The author got splattered by high-velocity rifle rounds and subsonic sidearm hollow points. Here, I'll make it easy for you, okay? I'll say it in terms that you might understand, since you're obviously having issues with English. The writer no write anymore. Yeah, writer made cherry pie on carpet. Writer dead. No part 2. No part 2. Does that help? See, we're helping. Isn't this fun? Joseph Galcolone, a retired sergeant with the New York City Police Department. What the freak is... Oh, he's an adjunct professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice. There we go. Said the need for caution becomes even more crucial when the suspect was known to have a mental illness and is no longer living. Actually, the need for caution is lessened by the fact that the bitch got folded like a cheap lawn chair. Her blood pressure is 0. You can make any observation you want. She can't come after you, man. You're safe there, Galcolone. This is your expert? There, NBC? This is it? Okay. He's afraid of dead people. Oh, don't worry, little buddy. We'll protect you. You go on experting your policeness or whatever. We got your back. Fucking twink. We can't ask her anymore. We can't get in her mind. Well, I guess this is where his expert policing comes in. He's right about that. Her mind, was splattered on the carpet. So you definitely can't get in that. Not without gloves, anyway. At least I wouldn't. Sounds like a big old pile of Hep C, if you ask me. How do we stop the next one? This is a professor, by the way. Is the clue in her writings and ramblings how to stop it? Is there a clue that's a tip-off? How do we stop a mass shooter? Guns. Guns are how you stop a bad guy with a gun. How do I know this? Well, professor, history. All mass shooters have been stopped with guns, whether it was the police's guns, their own guns, guns of a good guy, innocent bystander type situation. They all are stopped with a gun. So that leads me to believe that we could stop other mass shooters with, say it with me, guns. This guy is everything I would think an expert would be. Where's that bar again? Yeah, in the freaking basement? Okay. Officials had not said when they might release the contents of several journals recovered in Hale's family home. I guess there's several now. Like, there's not just one. So I guess there were sequels. Well, keep reading, guys. I guess you can do it. I've got a better idea. You could just release it to the public. Where's that manifesto? Nashville. Authorities said Hale identified as a transgender person. It was assigned female at birth, according to court records. Wait a minute. So did she think she was transgender? Because earlier in the article, it was a mystery. If you'll remember, in the blue, Drake said of the shooter that officials feel as she identifies as trans, but we're still in the initial investigation. Authorities said Hale identified as a transgender and was assigned. Okay, I mean, it's right there. It says it was identified in court records, or because Hale said it, or because, she talked about it in the manifesto. Did she talk about it in the manifesto? Because I seem to remember that was a point of contention too. Almost everything in this article contradicts itself. It's almost as if it's just complete bullshit. But then again, what's the name of the company that published it? The Metropolitan Nashville Police Department released a list of items belonging to the shooter, including 2 shotguns, cell phones, laptops, a suicide note, 3 folders, and 19 journals. Oh my, we're up to 19 journals and 3 folders, apparently. Wait a minute. What do you mean folders? Like, did she put the journals in the 3 folders, or she just bought folders and wrote on them? Release the damn manifestos. Because, if you're describing a folder that you seized, or 3 of them, was it just the folder? Like, why did you mention the 3 folders? Did she just write front and back on them? Did she run out of paper? What? This article is straight hot garbage. The shooter had planned the attack for months, according to those journals. If by months, do you mean 20 years? I thought she was mad about having to go there 20 years ago. Remember earlier in the article, that was a motive? David Rosh, the director of the Tennessee Bureau of... I bet he's a lot of fun. Told attendees at a Tennessee Sheriff's Association meeting last week that the handwritten journals were ramblings and the entries made no mention of specific political, religious, or social issues. So I guess David Rosh, the director of the TBI, he read them all. Well, then you got everything you can get, man. Maybe it's time to let the public have a crack at it. Also, what does he mean by mentions of specific political, religious, social issues? I don't even know what he's describing there. What's a specific political issue versus a non-specific political issue? What? Are you starting to see a pattern here? Because throughout this article, not only does it contradict itself, but when it tries to say something, it means nothing. Like, the speech and the words mean nothing. So I wonder, what could they be trying to convey? Why don't you just show us what she mentioned? That way we know what you mean by specific or non-specific, because you are doing a terrible job of explaining it. TBI, TBD, STD, whatever your freaking acronym is. Where's the manifesto, dude? He even went on to describe the journal type rantings. What's a journal type ranting? What? He says it multiple times. You can show us what she wrote, and then you can tell, well, that looks like a journal type ranting to me. Well, then I'll have an idea of what you're talking about. But if you're trying to describe something we've never seen as a journal type ranting, what the freaking freak does that even mean? I guess this is still that Rosh TBISTD guy. He added that he has concerns about releasing the writings out of fear that someone else with a mental illness picks it up and uses it. That concerns him more than anything. That's what keeps Rush up at night, I guess. The only thing I can say to that is, first of all, sounds like a real brave dude. Don't be scared, little buddy, okay? I mean, like I said, there is a solution here. You can even call it a silver lining. Most of them are Duracoated black, but, some do come in nickel plating, and that does resemble silver. Guns. Yeah, good guys with guns stop bad guys with guns. Don't be afraid, young Padawan. Just be smarter. Yeah, at least make an effort. Nashville police wouldn't confirm the contents of the journal writings, of course. A department spokeswoman said they remain under review and the motive is yet to be determined. Wait a minute. The Nashville police wouldn't confirm the... Why are we on the Nashville police again? I thought they handed it over to the TBI, TBD, STD, FBI, AIDS guys. They already told you that they couldn't handle it, so they had to hand it over to Big Brother. So is this journalisming? I'm getting strong hints, strong whiffs of journalisming. Little is known publicly about the shooter's gender identity and whether it even played a role in the massacre. The disinformation surrounding transgender people has left members of LGBTQ community worried about their safety. Little is known publicly about the shooters. We have the police / officials / expert policeman's feelings. Remember earlier in the article? And then we have the journal that apparently, according to their own article a few pages back, tells us how the trash bag identified. I mean, I'd say that we know a lot. We can reasonably infer based on 19 books of evidence. The LGBTQ community, why are we referring to people as communities? So you're going to take all gay people or all lesbians or all white people. Is that white community, black community? What is this community crap? I don't want to be a part of anybody's freaking community based on my color, the color of my skin, my mutable characteristics puts me in a community, man. You part of a community. Get out of here. Craig Dunton, an associate professor of criminal justice, again, another freaking professor, great, said releasing the personal writings of a mass shooter is a double-edged sword and can be problematic because it gives a person what they craved, attention. I've heard of not giving him attention. I can understand the argument against that, but on the other hand, the scumbag got slumped. They don't know how much attention they are getting. Now, other people might see it as, them getting more attention that way. I think we should keep reminding people that this piece of garbage doesn't know how much attention she is getting because her brain function ceased. She did. And if you're going to go down the road she went down and do the things she did, you will be too. And you won't know how many clicks you got. We don't know if gender identity played a part. You gotta be kidding me. Here we go again. Now we don't know. We feel it to be true. The trash bag wrote that it was true, and the motives and actions tend towards that being true, but we still don't know, right? There you go. There's the article. A lot of fun. As far as the usefulness of it, it's about as useful as the National Bullshit Company itself, so par for the course, I guess. I'm confused at how they thought this was an actual article. Without letting myself think about this too much, because this kind of dumbassery really can, murder brain cells, we'll just revert back to the original question. Hey Nashville, where's the manifesto? Good day.